The Thundermans are getting another movie. And I know, some of you just said finally out loud, alone, in your room. And that's okay. That's a safe space. We don't judge here. Okay, so first things first. Clash of the Thundermans premieres on September 3rd, 2026 on Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon simultaneously. Same day, which means if you have Paramount Plus, you're watching it there. And if you don't, it's also on regular Nickelodeon at 7 p.m. Eastern. So literally no one has an excuse. You will be watching this. The date and the key art were revealed at San Diego Comic-Con, which is the correct way to announce something like this. You walk out on that stage in front of thousands of people who are already predisposed to lose their minds over Nickelodeon nostalgia, and you just drop the poster and let the chaos happen. Genius move. Every studio should do announcements like this. And look, this is already the third major Thundermans project in the revival era. We had the Thundermans Return first, then the Thundermans Undercover as a full series on Paramount Plus, and now this movie. They are committed to this franchise, which is honestly more than I can say for a lot of other Nickelodeon revivals that came back for one special and then disappeared forever. So here's what the movie is about. The whole story centers on Chloe Thunderman, the little sister, the youngest one, who develops a brand new power. And not just any power, an unstable power. The kind of power where you're sitting at the dinner table and suddenly the whole kitchen is on fire and nobody ordered that. And because of this, the Hero League steps in and says she needs to go to a secret superhero boarding school to learn how to control it. Which, okay, fine. That makes sense from a liability standpoint. I get it. You can't just have a kid with uncontrolled powers walking around Metroburg. That's a whole insurance nightmare. But here's where it gets good. The family splits. That's the clash in the title. On one side, you have Max, Hank, and Nora, who think sending Chloe away is the right call. Safety first, control the situation. And on the other side, you have Phoebe, Barb, and Billy, who are like, absolutely not. She stays with us. We figure it out together. And I actually love this premise. Like, it's not just villain shows up, family fights villain. It's the family fighting each other over what's best for someone they all love. That's a real conflict. That's the kind of thing that actually makes you feel something. Phoebe and Max being on opposite sides of this is, and I mean this, genuinely compelling. Those two have spent the entire show growing from rivals into partners, and now they're divided again. Good writing. Respect. Full cast is confirmed. Everybody's here. Nobody sat this one out. Which, by the way, is not something you can take for granted with these revival projects. Also worth noting, Kira Kasarin and Jack Griffo are executive producers on this movie, which means they're not just showing up to say lines. They actually have creative input on the project. That's the kind of thing that usually means the people who know these characters best are in the room making decisions. That's a good sign. Okay, but the casting news that everybody's actually talking about is Ariel Winter joining the movie as Cognita, who is apparently the director of the secret superhero school where Chloe might get sent. For context, Ariel Winter is Alex Dunphy from Modern Family. She was in that show for 11 seasons. 11! That is a long time to be one character. And now she's doing a Nickelodeon movie, which is honestly a fun pivot, and I'm here for it. But here's the part that's interesting. Based on some of the wider plot descriptions floating around, Cognita isn't just a friendly school principal. She apparently has a plan, and not a good one. Something involving controlling students and, potentially, threatening Metroburg. So she might be the actual villain of this movie, hiding behind the title of headmistress of a school for superheroes. The idea of sending your kid to a school and then finding out the school is actually run by a supervillain is very funny to me. That is a parent's worst nightmare, but make it superhero. Hank and Barb are going to feel so bad about this, especially the ones who were pro boarding school. You know who you are. Max. It's Max. Here's the thing I think is worth saying out loud. The Thundermans revival has actually been handled pretty well compared to a lot of other nostalgia reboots. Like, they didn't just make one movie and call it a day. They built an actual continuation, a real series with Undercover, and now a movie that feels like it has stakes. That's not nothing. A lot of these Nickelodeon comebacks feel like they were made purely to trend on Twitter for a weekend and then disappear. This one feels like someone actually cares about where the story goes. And centering the next chapter on Chloe specifically is a smart move. She was literally a baby when the original show ended. Now she's a kid with her own arc, her own power problem, her own storyline that doesn't just depend on Phoebe and Max being the main characters. That's the show evolving. That's how you keep a franchise alive. You don't just repeat the same story, you find the next generation of it. Chloe basically is the next generation. And putting her at the center of this conflict while keeping the whole original family involved, that's the right call. That's how you make something that works for old fans and new ones. Look, I'm not gonna overhype this. It's a Nickelodeon movie on Paramount Plus. But it's a Nickelodeon movie on Paramount Plus made by people who clearly want to do right by this franchise with the full original cast back, a genuinely interesting premise, and a villain played by someone who spent 11 years on one of the most watched sitcoms in television history. As far as Nickelodeon revivals go, this is one of the more promising ones. September 3rd, Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon. Mark it, set a reminder, tell your friends who watched this show in middle school. Tell them it's time. I'm Platinum, that's the video. See you next time.